We are gonna be turning this pile of blackthorn branches, they are fresh and they are alive, into a wattle fence so that I can denominate where the badger lives and where the garden is, so that I can keep the brambles in check. My name is Linda and this is my fantasy homestead. Welcome! Let's start cracking on. I need to take the side branches off of these. They are very, very spiky. I need to put my gloves on. I always wear rubber gloves underneath because my gloves always let all of the moisture and soil through. I took all of these out from the patio area that we cleared just there in the corner. I really don't want them to die off and I really want to use them for something productive instead of just mulching them down. But then my mulcher died, so still need to find something to do with that. Okie dokie, let's start. Do you ever encounter situations where your gloves have been wet and muddy and then they have dried into a shape, whichever you put them down in, and then you can't put your hands in there anymore? That's me here. Trying to break in my gloves again so I can move my hands. I had a friend who suggested to buy a machete for dethorning the blackthorn, but I don't have one, so I don't know how to get one. I probably need ID to buy a massive knife, right? Because they wouldn't sell it to me in the shops. Are there any shops that sell machetes? I wonder. So we are doing it with an axe for now. I got tired of it, by the way, quite fast, and decided to go for the clippers. What I mean is secateurs. I started working with normal secateurs, but they were hurting my hands eventually, so I transitioned to electric ones, and in the end I even just stopped doing any thorn removal. I just removed the biggest branches if they were going sideways too much, but otherwise I left most of the branches as they were because it was just a lot faster to process them in this way. I have processed all of the branches now. It took me about 30 minutes of just chipping away at them. I've got myself a hammer, and from these branches, by the way, I have pulled out sticks that are gonna be the base. Yeah. I just need to go and hammer them in now. Come on. And off we go, all together. In one of my armpits there's a hammer, in the other armpit there's lots of sticks. Yay. It's kind of heavy. Oop. And we're going, and we're going. One, ah, they're slipping. No, they're slipping. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Oh, I did it. We did it. So the idea at the moment is to build a little wattle fence around this area. Not very big because we don't want to disturb the badger too much, but I want to keep the brambles contained in one area. I want to put some strawberries, like alpine strawberries here and things like that. And if we are there's no denomination of how close we are to the badger's nest, and it's not going to be easy. In the same time, I do not really want to disturb him too much, and I know that this is going to disturb a lot. So let's do it in one day only, and then we're just gonna move away and never come back in this corner again, except to cut some brambles. I need to make these different. I need my axe. And of course I tried to do this with an axe, and it was, you need to balance it on a piece of wood or a piece of stone or somewhere because as you hit the branch moves away from you as well because of the inertia. So I went with the electric secateurs, and they are seriously the best thing I have ever bought in my life, I think. they make the garden work, any kind of garden work, a walk in a park. It's just so easy and it's so satisfying. The only thing that really freaks me out every time is the intrusive thoughts that I have in my head about what happens if I put my finger in there and it just goes because it won't tell the difference. It stops only if the tree trunk or a branch that you are trying to cut is too big. Otherwise, it just goes through the butter, and I'm thinking that my fingers are probably a lot less dense than a branch, for example, right? It should, yeah, too many intrusive thoughts. I hope I never follow up on them. Definitely. Might not have been the best idea to use these sticks either. I might have needed to find the better ones around the property and maybe just cut them out of the fence, because these have been cut down at some point, so they are like a Y shape a little bit. So when you are trying to push them into the ground, their center of mass is a bit off of the balance, so it's hard to put them in. So this is gonna be the area that I'm gonna give it to the badger. And I know it's not visible at the moment, but the sticks are in ish. I am not very good at sticking them in, but we are gonna just start weaving. I left a lot of thorns on the sticks that we're gonna weave with. I am so sorry, but it's gonna be more like a wild hedge slash wattle fence. I'll deal with what I have because it's gonna rain in a second and I want to get it done. And then that is Badger's territory, and then he can come and join me in the garden around. Okay? I am too ambitious. I always think that I can do things in the first go, or if I'm carrying things, I can do it in one go. And sometimes it works, sometimes I end up like this. I mean, they were slipping, and I felt like my arms were on fire, and I didn't know if I'm gonna make it, but I did make it. So that's enabling behavior, because it will just make me think that I can do it next time as well. Anyone else like that? I have woven a wattle fence once before in my old garden. I did a little like edges around the flower beds, and I really liked how it looked. So I wanted to do something the same here. It is really easy to do. You just need to get the poles close enough together. Like for example here, where I didn't have the poles close enough together, so the weaving wasn't happening really well. So I had to get more poles. I inserted an extra one in the middle and rearranged them all so that they are closer together, which makes the fence panel, wattle fence panel, a lot sturdier. Doesn't that look so much better and so much like uniform? And then when you want to start weaving, you basically start opposite. So the branch is going like a zigzag shape, and the next one is being the opposite. You'll get a feel of it. It's really fun. I would suggest that you try it yourself if you can, because it's very therapeutic. At least I liked it a lot. My fence is gonna be probably a lot spikier than anticipated, or like if you were making out of the willow or anything else like that, you know, like proper branches, because it's blackthorn and I left the spikes on. So I think it's gonna go like it's a merge between wattle fence and a dead hedge that's been woven. I left about 20 centimeter gap underneath so the animals and amphibians and everyone else like mice and things like that can just pass through it underneath, and I'm not impeding their modes of transportation in my garden. I have put up a wildlife camera and I am checking it every day, but thus far I haven't seen the badger yet. I have seen bunnies though. I definitely have 2 bunnies in the garden. So they are, I don't know where they live yet, so I'm gonna try to figure out, but they are out and about every night. That does not bode really well for my future garden, and I am really worried about it. because bunnies like to eat vegetables, right? Instead of, like, if you have a grass or bean sprouts, which one you preferred if you were a bunny? I would probably prefer the bean sprouts. But what can I plant that bunnies won't eat? First world problems when people message you and you have gloves on and you are too lazy to take the gloves on, you unlock the phone by tapping it with your nose. And it works. We're almost done, and I should probably have made this a little bit thicker and pushed the branches a lot more down and packed it a little bit down a bit more. But this is here only to stop the new bramble shoots from like climbing out and about and just like denomination of the space. And then we just do a little clean up and tidy up, and then we are done. What do you think? I love it. I have used up all of the branches from everywhere that I had the green branches, except for the dead ones, of course. The last thing I need to do is lop the tops off so that it's one singular level. But yeah, let's do that together and then we are done. We're all done. It looks amazing. I love it so much. And all of this area now, the dead tree and all of this area is the badger's zone of do not touch. I might throw some sunflower seeds in there, you know, like to get some wildflowers in. But basically, I do not want to ever step foot in that area to not disturb the badger. I want him to stay, eat slugs, eat the snails, eat the earthworms. Unfortunately, I know that they dig. I have lots of feeding holes all across the garden where the badger has been eating, and it's amazing. But I can share, it's fine. I've been thinking that if I mulch all of this strip here, it will probably entice the earthworms to come up towards the soil more, towards the top of the soil more, and then the badger can eat there and leave the garden beds and things like that alone. I will test it out this year. I will put the garden in, and I'm not gonna fence it in or anything, and we will see how we are co-inhabiting. We will be fine. We'll be fine. Look, he has a really nice house now. And I have way of knowing where not to step. Super happy about this. Okay, goodbye friends, and see you next time.